Hey everyone, I hope you're having an amazing day right now, or evening depending on your local time zone. On the exact day of Easter, this channel hit 1,000 subscribers and is still continuing to this day. I know as a casual YouTuber who's got like 15 million subscribers, 1,000 doesn't seem like much, but imagine yourself talking to a crowd of 1,000 people. That's a lot! Words cannot describe how grateful I am that you stick around to see my content. Your love and support means the world to me. And so to celebrate this milestone, I'm hosting a Q&A. I said in my 1K subscriber video to leave questions in the comments and in my post. I also posted an announcement on Twitter, but nobody responded. But I still have some questions from you guys, so let's get into them. Some of them are questions from the announcement video, others I selected from my older videos. I wanted to make the video longer by answering more questions. Alright, so enough talking. Let's start with the first question. Will you keep doing more videos? Yes, I am making more videos. They're being worked on. They're being done. Look, I will never stop making videos until the day I die. This is one of many questions related to my short-lived versus videos. Alright, please Overlord versus Big Destroyer. Okay, for future reference, I won't be making any more versus videos because, number one, it's a pretty controversial subject, and number two, I got called out on for using a format that was similar to the Gubs channel, so I'll just give you a brief answer instead. Honestly, the Overlord would beat the Colossus. He moves faster and has the element of darkness, while the Colossus moves at a snail's pace and is made entirely out of rocks. And all the Overlord has to do is take out Garmadon, and there goes the ability to control the Colossus. Which Ninjago season is your favorite? For Will Film, it's a tie between Sons of Garmadon and Hunted, and for Wildbrain, it's a tie between Seabound and Master of the Mountain. Yeah, I suck at choosing favorites. Why does your profile picture have Lloyd's face with Kai's eyes? Wait, does it? Huh. You know, I don't know why. But not to worry, I plan on changing my profile picture soon to make it more fresh and unique instead of a combination of different images that I found on the internet. When did you get introduced to Ninjago? Well, it all started in 2012 when I went to Las Vegas, Nevada for spring break. I saw the episode Can of Worms when Kai got high on Vermilion drugs. His whole hallucination sequence was hilarious. After that, I watched Ninjago on YouTube and started playing the Ninjago games on the Cartoon Network website and got more into the lore. I don't think the games exist anymore, but that's how I got into it. Can you do a Wojira vs Overlord video? If so, thanks. Nice idea, but I'll just give you an answer instead. Both are powerful beings, but I think the Overlord would win, mostly because of the sheer power he has in his favor. Yeah, Wojira can command the wind and sea with the amulets, but the Overlord has the power of darkness. And, you know, darkness is a stronger element compared to wind and water. In Season 3, he was able to breathe and talk underwater, so attempting to drown him would be out of the question. Wojira might be able to strike him with lightning, but I don't think it would be that damaging in my opinion. Excuse me. I don't think it would be that damaging in my opinion. And if he got close enough, he could pluck the amulets right off her head and the fight would be over in seconds. Kirby Morrow is sadly gone. Yeah, he is. Rest in peace, man. Nia is somewhere in the ocean, but she's with Jay in the future. Will she come back? Also, what if the Time Twins return? Again, rest in peace, Kirby. You really did bring Cole to life. But to answer your other question, I'm not sure if it's possible to return after literally merging yourself with the sea. Maybe she'll come back as a Force Ghost or something and give Kai or Jay some words of encouragement. As for her future reflection with Jay, that's probably retconned. Unless those reflections were meant to show them a possible future among a sea of other possible futures, instead of saying, this is your future, this is what will happen to you in 40 years or so. You know how the saying goes, nothing is set in stone. That rule might apply to their reflections. Now that they have new designs, their futures are likely going to change. Or they probably changed already. Maybe they did something different in the present that caused their timeline to diverge from that possible future. Or maybe Master Wu and the Time Twins really did done mess up the timeline. I know some people were upset that Season 8 and onwards kind of retconned their reflections, but sometimes you gotta loosen up rather than be confined to go only one direction. Why restrict yourself to one thing when there are plenty of other possibilities that you can explore? So, Nia might come back in the future, or maybe not. I know that Ninjago tends to bring characters back from whatever death or fate befell them, but the writers do that only if it fits the narrative and not just for the sole purpose of fan service. It's not entirely out of the question for her to return, but since she's an incarnation of the sea, I think her fate's likely sealed. I might be wrong on that, but for now, that's my guess. And as for the second part of your question, if the Time Tones did return, it would be bad news for Ninjago, but that might not happen because they're literally lost in the void of time for eternity. Are you a Lego snake in real life? Why, yes. Yes, I am. Ninjago or Star Wars? You must be new here. I like both, but I'm leaning more towards Star Wars, mostly because I grew up watching the original and prequel trilogies, and I got to see the sequel trilogy and Rogue One in theaters since they were released on or around my birthday. I actually did enjoy the sequels, regardless of what some people think. If I accidentally offended you by liking Star Wars content that's made by Disney, then boo-hoo, go cry yourself a river. But anyways, I like Ninjago as well, but I saw Star Wars first and I'm more into it. But this is just an opinion and—
Oh, he's totally biased. He's not a real Ninjago fan.
Oh, well, shit. Well, time to shut the channel now. God damn it. I love your Ninjago videos, but I think you're losing views. What are you gonna do? Okay, you let me worry about that. All I have to do is make the best videos I possibly can, and my channel will still be bright and cheerful. And it takes time and effort. I may not have an upload schedule for YouTube, but I don't need one. Sometimes I set deadlines for myself as motivation to get editing done quicker, but it's rare. As long as my content is something worthwhile and not just churned out stuff, my view count will not fail. Thank you for your concern, but everything will be fine, I say with confidence as I look at my analytics. Alpha Brick Studios was referring to Griffin Turner. Why do you think his trail has an orange glow in Season 9 other than a retcon? Probably to visualize the notion that his powers are getting stronger, similar to how Lloyd's eyes are now green. How did Garmadon become an Oni? Okay, he didn't become an Oni. He was already part Oni. He was born part Oni just like his brother and his son. They inherited that trait from the first Ninjutsu master since he was an Oni dragon hybrid. And the Great Devourer obviously isn't an Oni, just a serpent with venom that turned Garmadon evil, which I guess triggered his Oni heritage to become his dominant trait, because the Oni have the powers to destroy, and they like destroying stuff, so that kind of correlates to the evil trait of Garmadon. I'm not sure if that's sciences, but I'm counting it as such. Okay, look, alright. I'm gonna get into genetics real quick, so bear with me here. I'm not a genetics major, but you know. We all have dominant and recessive traits. They each come from two versions of a gene that we inherit from our parents. The dominant gene is the one that's expressed, while the recessive gene is the one that's masked. Usually, there are some natural things that can change an organism's genetic code and alter their traits, kind of like hybridization. The traits that Garmadon, Wu, and Lloyd have are human, Oni, and dragon. They look more human, so that's an indication that their dominant trait is, guess what, human, while their Oni and dragon traits are recessive. Garmadon looks more like an Oni now because after he was corrupted and struck by lightning, it switched his genes a bit and made his Oni trait more dominant. After being purified, his human trait went back to its dominant status, but after being resurrected, his Oni side once again took the dominant role. I don't know if this scientific explanation makes sense to you, but fingers crossed that it did. This answer isn't as hard or as convoluted as I've seen some people make it, but I hope this clarifies things for you. Could Wu turn into a dragon? Is this what you were asking for? But in all seriousness, I'm sure he could if he wanted to. Can you make a what-if video where Lloyd didn't lose his powers in Sons of Garmadon? I think I'll just give you an answer here. He wouldn't have his powerless arc in Hunted, and the whole theme of enduring and adaptability wouldn't nearly be as impactful. No real consequence to the events that take place in Season 9, but we would lose a bit of weight of responsibility that's being placed on his shoulders, and we wouldn't be able to relate to him as much or have a louder cheer for him when he saves the day. The plot of Season 9 would be relatively the same if he still had his powers, but the stakes wouldn't really be that high, and his vulnerability wouldn't be on display as much. With the followers transforming into Anaconda, do you think it will kill them from skin to scales? What? Okay, since they used a spell that transforms people into Anaconda, then no, it wouldn't kill them. I hope that answered your question. Who would win, Scalador or Acidicus? Honestly, I think this matchup could go either way. One side might argue that Scalador would win due to his ability to strangle his enemies and burrow underground for a surprise attack, while others might say that Acidicus would win because of his hallucinating venom. Skeletons versus black skeletons. First of all, that's racist. Second of all, since the Reawakened can reassemble after being knocked out, I don't think the Skull can have the advantage in this fight. What is the intro song? Before October of last year, I used a section of the tournament whip but because I got a copyright claim for it, I now use the song Werq by Kevin Macleod. It's a very cool song, it's got a very chill beat, and it's pretty catchy. What if the Overlord fought Garmadon? Then Garmadon would lose. Blizzard Samurai versus Ice Hunters from Shima. Alright, I'm gonna be honest here, I don't know anything about the Ice Hunters. I haven't seen Shima, so my input might mean nothing. But after looking up the Ice Hunters online, their powers of freezing the landscape are similar to the Blizzard Samurai. So instead of one army winning, I think this fight would end in a stalemate, mostly because their abilities are identical. Can you explain why the Omega Staff looks like Borg Tower? I don't think there's any big connection between the staff and Borg Tower. It was probably just a coincidence on the animator's part, and it wasn't intended to be analyzed too deeply. Anaconda versus Vermilion. I like the Anaconda more, but honestly I think the Vermilion would win this fight. Their ability to reassemble would likely tire out the Anaconda. Where do you get your clips from? So most of the footage is from Netflix, but I sometimes get footage from YouTube, as long as it's in high definition. And also the recording software I use is called OBS Studios. What software do you use? I mostly use Premiere Pro, and for videos with cool effects like this one, I use After Effects. And for thumbnails, it's Photoshop. Anaconda versus Oni. The Oni would win. With their petrifying claws, there's literally nothing the Anaconda can do against that. Do you think Jay likes cats? I wouldn't be surprised if he does. He looks like a cat person. Can you do 9 ways Mr. E could return? I actually did write a script for that. I might turn it into a video, but I'm not sure. I have other projects that I want to do first. Nindroids versus Stone Warriors. Well, since the Stone Army is indestructible, the Nindroids might not win, but they might slow them down at best. The Nindroids do have flight, invisibility, lasers, and fancy tech though, so this fight might actually go either way. But if the Overlord combine them into one singular army, then woo! That'd be something. How old is Wu if Asphera was locked in the pyramid for 1,000 years? Okay, well, based on the fact that he sounds like a kid, I'd say he was about 10 to 12 years old when he and Garmadon defeated Asphera. I don't know when their longevity starts, probably when they hit puberty, so it wouldn't be too far-fetched that this took place about a decade after he was born. But that's my guess. Why does Salil appeal in the Why does Salil appear in the Phantom Ninja book but not in the show? Okay, so the whole topic about whether Salil is canon or not is pretty confusing. So the co-creator Tommy Andreasen has flat out stated that there aren't any plans to have Salil appear in the show, but has stated that the Phantom Ninja book could be considered canon. If you ask me, it's not. Why? Because the book comes from a line of supplementary Ninjago comics that are known for contradicting a lot of stuff from the TV show's timeline, so I don't count it as canon. I actually wrote a script that goes more in depth about Salil's canon status and whether or not she could actually become canon, instead of it being a 50-50 debate where people are saying, well, she's canon, but not really canon. I don't know when I will make that video, but it will be made, I promise. Long story short, she's not in the show because there aren't any plans to expand her story outside of the book. Could there be a future season where the government creates something similar to the Sokovia Accords and have the ninja become responsible for all the damage from the attacks in previous seasons, which leads to them either having a civil war or becoming fugitives? Yes, there could be a Civil War season, artistic and creative freedom and stuff. I'm not sure if they'll go with it because your version is basically the same plot of Captain America's Civil War. But for the sake of this question, let's say that they wanted to make a Civil War season sometime in the future. Instead of having the government keep them in check through the enactment of the Merlopia Accords or something, have it be more of an internal conflict. We know that Kai and Jay are the most affected by Nia's exit, since she's Kai's sister and Jay's girlfriend. Long story short, they become so torn up about the loss of Nia that they leave the team and create a personal army where they become the boss, and the rest of the ninja oppose their crusade, which leads to the Civil War. Or have Kai and Jay form their own factions of the team, and then they start duking it out. Again, this was all speculation, and it might not happen, but still, that's my theory. So that was all of the questions I found. Some of them were under the Q&A announcement, others were from the comment sections in my older videos, and I figured that I might as well include them here. If you have any more questions, the comment section is at your service. I don't know when I will make another Q&A. It might be next week, it might be next month, it might be next year, or maybe when I hit 10,000 subscribers, who knows. But thank you guys so much for the 1,000 subscribers, it means the world to me. Give yourselves a round of applause, this was a big milestone and we did it. If you enjoyed watching me answer 31 questions, then be sure to subscribe to the channel to watch more videos. And don't forget to follow me on Twitter at King NightFury. And as always, I will see you in the next video. Have a lovely day, everyone, and stay safe.